everybody, so I am doing another look from the makeup artistry book from 1989. I have decided to pick a look that was sort of party-like, sort of fun, and even maybe a little like 1989 New Year's Eve-ish. I almost went with one that had more of like a red lip focus, but the eye makeup looked pretty similar to the Mary Quant one I had done. So a couple of weeks ago, also part of XOXO, I did a recreation following the tutorial for Mary Quant's book, which was like a 60s inspired look. This one is going to be very fun. I don't really have like a party like outfit. The whole outfit in the picture with like the strapless dress and the big earrings and the gloves looks so glamorous, and I don't have anything like that in my closet at all, but it looks pretty fun. Actually, I think I do have something that might be a little bit similar, but not something that I don't think would photograph very well. But anyway, I want to do this blue and gold kind of look and keep this going. My plan is to eventually get to every single look in this book and hopefully find some new books along the way. So, as always, I have a bare face going in. I did heavily moisturize because my face has been really dry. And yes, like usual, I have my wig cap on to start, as it has been for the last little while. I did put a couple of notes in my description box, but I just want to say I've had like a really massive psoriasis flare-up. Pretty standard for me for this time of the year, but it's very uncomfortable and it's not very pleasant, and I do have a treatment on my hair. You can kind of like see some of like the psoriasis around here, because like it's around here is where it's really bad, and then the back of my head, and I have this Sorbet gel is what it's called, and I put that on and it makes my whole scalp like really greasy, but it does relieve a lot of that pain. So if you've ever had psoriasis, you'll know what I mean. It's like that tightness, and then like I will have like that cracking and stuff because it's just very pleasant, because it is so very pleasant. But anyway, I just wanted to explain that, and it's just easier for me to like cover that way since I'm probably going to be wearing a wig anyway. So let's begin with step number one. We have a reasonably dense application of concealer, cancels shadows and skin blemishes. So I'm glad that this is mentioned here. Normally in these sort of books, there really isn't a lot of color correcting or concealing. I mean, it's done on models who generally have pretty flawless faces, and I get that color correcting wasn't really a thing. It's something that I like to do. I like to have color correction. So I'm just using my Glossier Stretch concealer, and I am going to apply a little bit like underneath my eyes. Like normally that's where I would put like a pink corrector, but I'm going to put a little bit, and it turned out to be a lot, but just underneath my eyes to kind of help some of that issuing I have. And I have a little issue going on down here. I had a couple of like minor breakouts that I managed to get on top of, but they still left like a little bit of marking there. And like everything else is fairly okay for what my skin is. So I think the foundation can kind of cover the rest of it, but I just really wanted to have like that extra layer underneath my eyes so that hopefully it will remain a little bit brighter. Step number two is liquid foundation is applied evenly by using a rolling and lifting motion of a cosmetic sponge. So I have my good old beauty blender, and I have my Giorgio Armani Neo Nude True to Skin Natural Glow Foundation. So I thought that this would work, especially because there is a step of powdering, which I normally don't do, and I was going to use my MAC foundation, but it's already light to begin with, so I thought since this is a slightly darker foundation that I would use this instead. A rolling and lifting. I really need to clean my sponges. I know I said that when I did my makeup collection video. I still haven't gotten around to cleaning everything. It's been hectic. Like trying to keep up with XOXO has been insane. Like I have loved it so much because honestly it's been so good to have a distraction at this time of the year right now, but it's a lot of work. Like it's a lot of time. I think I might have overestimated my time and my computer and my just abilities to be able to get stuff done. I almost didn't make it with my last video, or, well, when this video goes up, wasn't my last video, it would have been my video that went up Friday, because my computer crashed so many times. It was so frustrating. I got home from work because I filmed the night before, and I was like, oh, it'll be fine. Like, if I had to go to work that day, and I was like, when I get home from work, it'll be fine, because I'll import my footage, and that'll take a little bit of time, because normally importing my footage can take like an hour. So I was like, okay, well, that'll be fine. I'll get home and I'll get my footage imported, and I'll like make dinner or do some cleaning or stuff in between, and like make use of the time basically. But then of course my computer wouldn't work, and then it wouldn't open iMovie to let alone import it. It took 2 hours to even open iMovie to import the footage in the first place. Nightmare. And then finally, like once it imported the footage and I could edit it, it just took forever, and then to export takes hours. So I technically got it up like almost 1 o'clock my time, so it would have been technically Saturday, but I was like, well, it's still Friday for a lot of people, for a lot of places, so we're just gonna roll with this one, and I'll still have the same amount of videos because I already had my Saturday video filmed as well. So I don't know if I'll want to do this again next year, but then there's the part of me that's like, it has been so much fun though. It has, like, just in general, keeping this ball rolling has been so much fun. So I'm gonna see what I can do like in the new year and stuff, and what I can keep going, because it definitely has been very, very enjoyable for me. I just like the way that this feels now. I'm just literally just like pressing the sponge all over my face, and I don't really need to anymore, but I just put it everywhere. I even put it on top of my eyes because I noticed my eyes were a little bit of red as well. I've been experiencing some psoriasis outbreaks on my eyes, but it doesn't seem to be very consistent. Like if I wear my Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion, it usually seems to be okay. It's like if there's that base there, it seems like my eyes will be okay. And if not, the next morning, it's like the inner portion of my eye will just be really flaky, sometimes a little bit, and sometimes like very, very flaky. So you can kind of see it a little bit on my eyelids right now, that it's just, there's that little bit extra redness. But I'm hoping that when the stress of trying to do a video every day, and the stress of work, and just the whole holiday season in general, when that is done and over with, I'm hoping that that will return to kind of normal, because my skin had been, and my scalp had been like okay for the last little bit. I'm sure you turned into this to hear about my psoriasis troubles. Okay, number 3 is loose powder is brushed lightly with a large brush. This gives a smooth matte texture and a lighter finish. So I have this by Terry hyaluronic powder, which I'm going to use with this fluffy brush. I chose this powder because it is a lot smoother and it's not as heavy on my skin. It feels really nice, so I thought, well, might as well take advantage of it, since I don't normally like powder my face. I don't normally go for a matte finish, but thought we'd make use of it. I do feel like this powder is really nice. Sorry, I almost like feel like I'm gonna sneeze because I'm so not used to having powder, and I like put it around my nose. I'm just like, no, we're good. We're good. I don't feel very holiday-y right now. Like I thought I'd feel it more. I feel like I felt it more at the beginning of December, and now that we're getting close to actual Christmas, I'm like, I'm really excited to have all my videos come up next week. I have 2 collaborations coming out next week, which should be very exciting. I have, I'm not really sure about another video. There's a couple of ideas I'm playing around with, and let me continue that thought in a second. Number 4, step 4 is to lengthen and widen the eyes. Navy blue shadow is patted onto outer edges of lid, sweeping upwards. So this was a little bit of a challenge. I went digging, but I couldn't really find. So finding the shadows for this was a little bit problematic, but I went digging through my singles, and then I found a couple of things that I think will work. So the other shade used in this look is what they call like a white gold, which I didn't have anything, so I figured if I layered these 2 together, I would get a very similar shade. And just like I'm going to layer these 2 shadows together to get the navy blue shade, I will list them in the description box. I'm pretty sure it's a MAC shadow, and I think that's the colored Raine pigment. I was just swatching things. I really wasn't looking at what things were, but in case anybody is interested, I'm just basically dipping my brush back and forth. I don't know how well that's going to go, but we are going to try it. Normally with something like this, I would totally have done tape, because I find that that's how I get that kind of like a straight line. Like I'm not a person who can like freestyle lines very well. Like it just doesn't work for me. I think I might just use the tape actually, because I can't do lines. So I know it doesn't say it, but I feel like I kind of have to adapt these a little bit to make them work for me, because that shape I'm just not going to be able to achieve just freestyling it. It's just okay. So I accidentally, while I was trying to straighten things out there, knocked a mug over and it broke all over the floor. So yeah, my focus isn't really going to be there. So I'm just going to, I know it's cheating because tape, I'm not following the rule directly, but also I feel like when you look at the pictures and you look at the wording, I feel like a lot of stuff is missed as well. Like I feel like it's just like an overall sort of basic thing. So I'm a little shaken because that was a really loud noise and it freaked me out a little bit. So I'm just going to use the tape because it will help me be able to create that sharp line a lot easier, aka at all. I don't care. That's the way it has to be today. Like when I try and freestyle it, and it doesn't really help that I have pretty shaky hands and incredibly shakier hands now, so. Next up is number 5. A base of white gold glittery shadow is placed on inner lid up to socket line. Blend firmly but carefully using a wide number 6 brush. Apply several coats to get density of application. We're gonna see how this will go. It doesn't look very blended in the photo. It does seem to be like there's like a noticeable So I'm just using that sort of more silvery shade, which I believe is an Emme Cosmetics eyeshadow first. Do both sides. Okay, so that's what it looks like so far compared to the photo, but I'm going to put a little bit of this Sydney Grace gold shadow on top, because I did say it was like a white gold. So that's the difference between the gold and the more silvery kind of shade. And once more with that sort of silvery shade on top. It's going to take a little bit more of the blue shade. There we go. That's what that looks like so far. The next step, step number 6, is navy eyeliner is drawn close to lower lashes using a fine number 14 liner brush. Large eyes are enhanced by strong, dark outlines. See how this technique opens up our model's eyes. Okay, so I do have a navy eyeliner and I do have a eyeliner brush, but I don't know if that's gonna work very well. Like I'm trying to get the pencil onto the brush. Drawn close to lower lash line. So that is the difference with the eyeliner on one eye and not on the other. So what do you think so far? Does it really make a huge difference? All that I've done is put the eyeliner on the lower lash line. Like there's nothing extra added to the top, it's just the lower. And there is the eyeliner. Next step is gold powder shadow is mixed with water and brushed on top lid close to lashes to form a flashing highlight. So it actually doesn't look like it's anywhere besides the top inner bit for like liner. So I thought that looked pretty cool. So I grabbed this powder eyeshadow from Notoriously Morbid, dropping everything today. This is from the Fleetwood Mac collection they had. This is Shatter Your Illusions. So it's a gold pigment. And then instead of water, I am going to use Duraline and see if that helps kind of keep everything on my lid. Brushed on top lid close to lashes. Well, that was really simple. So there we have the gold. I think that's pretty cool, actually. I really like that. Continuing on with the same step, step number 7, it says mascara is swept onto lashes utilizing 3 coats. So there we have mascara. And finally, still part of step 7, it says that brows are slicked into shape using a small brush. Now, the model's brows are pretty thick and full. I'm going to use a tinted brow gel because I need a little bit more help, and I still might use a little bit of brow powder because this feels very specific to this model because she has those beautiful natural thick brows, which I just don't have. So I'm gonna help my brows to look a little bit closer to hers by using the brow gel. So there, and I do think mine are more sparse, and I do have a little bit of a brow powder here and a little angled brush. Not to do like anything crazy, I just really want to replicate the way that the model's brows look, which are just a little bit fuller since I have some little gaps and stuff in mine. So I'm just using this brow powder to fill in some of those gaps so that they still are kind of like wilder and unruly, but they're filled in a little bit more so that they are closer to the way the model's looks. Feeling pretty good. Okay, moving on finally to step 8 is the merest hint of rosy pink blusher is swept over model's classic cheekbones. This adds glow rather than shape. So again, this does seem rather specific to the model and would definitely need to be adjusted by the person. I'm going to use this Milani blush. So this is one of those maybe ones. I've been using it for the last little while. This is Dolce Pink. I've been using it to try and see if I want to keep it so far. I mean, I've used it a few times and I really do like it, so I think this will probably end up being a keep, perhaps, but we're still gonna try. So there's no other things going on the face, no contour, nothing but blush, and it does say swept over cheekbones, so I'm looking at the image and trying to replicate kind of where the blush placement is on the model's face versus my face. I think that is very close. I want to add more blush, I really do. Next we have step 9, which is, so they put the brows and mascara all in one step, and then there's step 9 is a beauty spot is shown to advantage with a touch of cool brown shadow. So the model had like a little mole on her chin, and there's a whole spot dedicated to that, but I want to replicate the look. So I want to put this spot on as well. So I just put the spot on the bottom. I just really, like I said, I just really wanted to replicate the look. And then the final step is to balance and enlarge the lip shape. A line is drawn outside the natural outline before filling in with fuchsia pink. The normal lip brush I would use for this, I just used for my makeup yesterday, and it's black currently, so we're not going to do that, but I am going to use my lip palette. This is the Anastasia lip palette that I rediscovered, and I think that the pink, we're going to start with the real pink shade there first and see how I need to deepen it afterwards, but that's where we're going to start. My camera battery died, of course, so I finished the lipstick. So I used mostly that shade that I said I was going to use, but I also used a little bit of this shade right here and also a little bit of the red as well to try and match as closely to the picture as I could. And then I just put a wig on and I feel very in character right now. I feel very late 80s, early 90s. This whole thing. I feel a little Cruella de Vil as well, just like a little hint of it. But anyway, this is the final look. What I'm going to be taking from this is that inner corner liner. I think I'm going to try that a little bit more with some other placements. So I like this two shadows and that little bit of gold, and yet it's so interesting to look at, but it's not very complicated to do at all. And I do feel like it's very festive. I feel like it's very appropriate for this time of the year. The eye kind of reminds me a little bit of like a Christmas ornament with like the blue and the golden shades. Like, that's just what it reminds me of. So I feel like it was very appropriate for this time of the year. This was so much fun as always. I had such a great time doing these. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I hope we get a chance to chat soon. Bye for now.